Welcome one, welcome all to Pit Road Productions. Once again, the new season of the Washington DC Region Sports Car Club of America Virtual Racing League. Starting off the season at Road Atlanta last week, we're here for round 2 at Summit Point Raceway, the home track of WDCR. The Porsche 911 Cup and Toyota GR86 classes are ready to bring us some fantastic racing over the next 30 minutes or so. Of course, once the 15 minutes of qualifying is complete. It's a short circuit with plenty of bumps, some pretty big curbs, and opportunities for big sends aplenty. And bringing it to you live here on the Pit Road Productions YouTube channel, it's me, Reese Gardner, with Daniel Zippy Salmon alongside me in the commentary box, also producing behind the scenes. Zippy, we had a great first round of the season at Road Atlanta last week. Much shorter circuit here at Summit Point for round 2, but that's not going to change the racing much. I think it's going to be just as exciting as it was 7 days ago.
Absolutely, indeed. Road Atlanta, without a doubt, my favorite track, ladies and gentlemen. Anybody who's watched Pit Road Productions, I'm sure, would definitely put that on the bingo card. But indeed, Summit Point Raceway, definitely a few different configurations of this track. This one being my personal favorite, the actual raceway itself. A local track to a lot of these drivers, and indeed to a lot of our sponsors here today at WDCR SCCA Virtual Racing League as well. But I gotta say, ladies and gentlemen, if you have managed to find your way here, from all the way from the WDCR YouTube channel, thank you very much. We do have a playlist up there now, so if you want to try and find the broadcast easier, we've got that in place for you. And a huge props there to Ken Halsell for having that absolutely phenomenal idea, which honestly I wish I had thought of. But certainly it's definitely good already. Reese, the chat is going off. Zaralef is here before we went live. Amy is here before we went live, and not only that, we got Resonator back as well. My friend from my Wreckfest days, indeed, the Hoop Socks Soot show. Let's go with that. I'm sorry, Poop, but let's go with that. Indeed, definitely good to have the chat back already. But Reese, before we get too excited, let's have a look indeed where we've been and where we're going.
Absolutely. We started off the season last week at Road Atlanta here at Summit Point for round 2. We're going to the Hungaro Ring next week for the first really big track of the season. Then Imola for round 4 before we take a week off for a special event at the end of February. Aragon plays host to round 6. We head up to Canada, Motorsport round 7. To California, Laguna Seca for round 8. Over to the UK at Donington Park for round 9. Closing off the regular season at VIR for round 10 before a special event to close off the season for round 11 in April, sort of mid-April. Going to be fantastic to see how these two classes tackle these this wide variety of circuits. I think Summit Point's going to produce a little bit more traffic danger than Road Atlanta did. Yes, the S's last week did prove a bit interesting when the Porsches were negotiating the GR86s, but Summit Point, much more compact. It does have some good straight line sections, but it's very easy to get caught up.
Yeah, definitely. We'll get an onboard lap here in just a second here, Reece. Certainly. Actually, tell you what, you tell me which driver you're feeling the urge should get the honours, and even that, not only that, we've got 2 classes of car here today. Ladies and gentlemen, I do love myself a multi-class race. I used to honestly go in a slower class the majority of the time, but now I've found, honestly, I prefer rocking the faster class purely because it means I'm guaranteed to overtake somebody, ladies and gentlemen. But certainly, we have the utmost pleasure here of having the Porsche 996 Cup car and indeed the GR86. Certainly a little bit of a Marmite car, ladies and gentlemen. Certainly, Marmite is probably not understood by 95% of people who sort of watch this broadcast, but it's kind of the old slogan is you either love it or you hate it. And certainly the GR86 has proven to be quite a popular choice here, especially among new and emerging sim racers, ladies and gentlemen. Certainly, Reece, give us a shout. Which car would you like? Go for the number or indeed the name, and I'll try and get an onboard lap with them.
Yeah, okay, once you stop talking, I'll tell you, because they're all about to start their final laps, mate. Cooper Van Horn is the one that still has a lap left to run, so I think we should focus on him. He's currently made his way out of turn 1. Very heavy braking zone for that first turn. And then through turn 3, you need to try your best to carry the momentum, but Cooper goes a little bit wide. Unfortunately, that's going to arrest his momentum down the straight. A lift and a bump. Very big bump through the right-hand kink downhill into this sort of double hairpin section. This is where a lot of the races are won and lost at Summit Point, and then you're just balancing the throttle through these S's here. You've got to be so careful not to turn back to the right too hard there, or you'll suffer major understeer like it appears Cooper just did. And then finally out into the final turn. Incredibly important to keep the speed up through here, but also maximize the exit, because you've got this entire long start-finish straight to come.
Yeah, definitely one of the more challenging circuits, and honestly, just watching Cooper Van Horn go around, one thing I have noticed about this new Porsche is it doesn't really like the curves quite a lot. It does bounce a little bit, and certainly Summit Point, it is very easy to catch a bit of curves. So I have a feeling we may see a couple of incidents involving that. Indeed, a couple of drivers are going to have to face that challenge. The GR86, though, my limited experience of that car, you can throw it pretty much anywhere you like.
Yeah, indeed. It's quite an easy circuit, I suppose you could say. Easy to get the hang of, and it's one that many iRacers will be familiar with. It is, after all, part of iRacing's base content, and it's also one of the circuits that was the first to be added to the iRacing service all the way back in the sort of 2008 to 2010 area. It's had an art update since then, but the base scan still dates from all the way back when. So it's definitely a bit of a retro feel for this particular round. Regardless, we do have, while we have time in qualifying, an opportunity to give thanks to the sponsors and supporters and partners of the Washington DC Region Sports Car Club of America chapter. These companies make this broadcast possible. First off, OG Racing, the official motorsports safety gear and equipment supplier to the Washington DC region, staffed by racers for racers. OG stocks everything from helmets, driving suits, shoes and gloves, to seats, data systems, and top quality brake pads from PFC, Hawk and Paget. With over 35 years of supporting racers, OG Racing has earned a reputation for providing exceptional customer service in the industry, staffed by an expert team that ensures you have the gear you need to go fast and stay safe. Visit their 1,200 square foot warehouse in Sterling, Virginia.
Ladies and gentlemen, since 1976, Radial Tire Company has proudly served the DC area, providing quality tires and exceptional service. Renowned as the premier specialist in hard-to-find performance tires and wheel applications, they stock tires from top manufacturers ranging from trucks to sports cars and racing machines. Their mission is to maximize your vehicle's potential on the road and the track. Ladies and gentlemen, the best bang for buck you can do if you're spending money on your car to go faster, 100% is the tire compound. Check out Radial Tire Company.
Indeed. For over 30 years, RP Performance has been at the heart of racing as a neighbor to Summit Point and standing out as the premier race car shop specializing in street and track Mazdas. In addition to track support and transport, RP is a full-service shop, helping drivers with their racing and other track event needs. Known for their helpful attitude, RP works diligently to get cars back on track, ensuring a positive experience for all at all Summit Point events. RP has also accrued many wins and championships within various classes under the RP Performance banner.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, we move on to Belmont Classic Cars. Now, as you would be expecting at this point, I've had a look at the inventory. Right now, they've got a 1968 Chevrolet Camaro coming. It's got a 327, an automatic transmission, and it's like a yellow color, a very soft yellow, I'll say, ladies and gentlemen, with a black interior as well. I got to be honest, it is pretty badass. It's a 1968. It looks pretty tidy and very, very muscular wheels, ladies and gentlemen. If you look at those, you're going to get the vibe, ladies and gentlemen. You need to literally put on the music, put on the outfit, and just enjoy that bit of retro goodness. But certainly, Belmont Classic Cars is a family-owned dealership located in Eastern Ohio, specializing in classic American muscle cars from 1960s and 70s. They pride themselves on selling iconic rides and only offer cars they would want to add in their collection. Established in 2017, the owners, Andy and Dana Mistak, inherited their passion for cars from their fathers, avid enthusiasts of Chevy and Ford vehicles. Outside of the family business, the entire family has been involved in racing from motocross, trophy trucks, and their new endeavor of road racing. Ladies and gentlemen, Belmont Classic Cars.
And last but not least, Grand Touring Enterprises is an internationally recognized full-service classic automotive facility located in Frederick, Maryland, with a mission of keeping legends in motion. Their commitment to classic vehicles spans service, restoration, secure climate-controlled storage, sales, and consignment. Grand Touring also offers full collection-level consultation and management services alongside concours-level detailing. Their focus is on preserving the history and prestige of the vehicles they manage, and ensuring that the driving experience is equally spectacular and authentic. Well, huge thanks to everybody who has been involved with this series from the very start, all the partners, sponsors, and supporters of the Washington DC Region SCCA. And they help to make this broadcast possible, so make sure to check them all out if you are able. Well, qualifying is basically done, but we still have 2 minutes remaining in the session, so a little bit more of an opportunity to talk about Summit Point and the various subtleties that it has here. Looks like Jonathan Crane is the only car out on track at the moment, aside from David Albrecht. Probably still waiting on lap times from a few other drivers besides, but let's have a think about it, Zippy. Where do you think the Porsches are going to have the most trouble getting around the GR86s?
Definitely going to be in that last chicane race. Indeed, it's going to be a challenge going through there. You can go too fried. It's just too fried. That sounds delicious. You can go too wide, ladies and gentlemen. Certainly, I can do it with KFC right now. You can go too wide through that chicane, but indeed, it's definitely going to back you up pretty heavily. And should you choose to get into a battle right there, you are going to be feeling the consequences of it, ladies and gentlemen. Certainly, you've got to choose your passes wisely. With there being such a good long straightaway, that's going to be the opportune pass to try and make a move here on other class cars, and indeed your competition at turn 1. But certainly, planning those moves and planning the strategy is going to be crucial to this race.
Yeah, absolutely is. Keeping in mind, of course, that there is no pit stop for this event, so the drivers won't have to worry too much about fuel strategy or tire strategy for that matter. The tires will last easily, but yeah, the GR86 can be a bit of an understeery machine, as can the Porsche 911, which means through those fast corners, it's going to be quite difficult to keep that front end grip up. I think the drivers are going to have to be focusing on getting their cars rotated into these corners for maximum benefit.
Yeah, definitely. You got to try and play it very, very carefully, ladies and gentlemen. Indeed, as we've got about 20 seconds left of qualifying. Let's have a quick check-in with the chat here, though, as ladies and gentlemen, I've got to say, I am falling way behind. Resonator and Zaralift definitely having a conversation. I believe Wreckfest might have come into play, and that's pretty much set them off. Yeah, Zaralift saying he misses the old Wreckfest days. Certainly, watch your bottom split me out as Zaralift. You'll get some reminders real quickly. But apparently, Wreckfest 2 is indeed starting to shape up. I can't say that I've bought it yet, but certainly, for those of you who didn't know, I used to be a Wreckfest admin on one of the most messed up and colourful servers in the service indeed. So, definitely some interesting experiences for those who've been involved in that community.
Yes, indeed. All right, let's move on through to the grid then, as we find our way through. Starting on pole position is going to be in the Porsche class, DJ Alessandrini, who returns after missing round 1. Klaus Wood alongside him. Jack Chrissy and Jake King on row number 2. Wojtek Heidecek in 5th place alongside Adam Kovac, with Austin Olds and Richard Sawicki in 7th and 8th. The top 10 rounded out by Cooper Van Horn and Raul Iriarte. Thomas Lathrop and Kevin Zhu are your 6th row of the Porsches. Max King and Mike Leader 13th and 14th. Then it's Cameron Guth and Matthew Kilmurray rounding out the 16 Porsches taking part today, Zippy.
Taking a look here at the GR86 grid, we're going to have Brian Cohen on the front of the grid alongside Michael Montello. Ken Housel, welcome back, sir. He's there in 3rd with Franz Hansen alongside. I have a feeling that's going to be a good battle, especially with Colin Denner right behind in 5th for the GRs. Andrew Ludford takes his side in 6th with Alex Nicarant, taking 7th with Anthony Montello alongside in 8th. Having a little bit of a look further back, ladies and gentlemen, you can see here that it is Louis Alessi alongside Jonathan Crane with Mark McLuey in 27th. Brian Miller takes 28th with Brian Brian Taylor in 29th. Timothy Homan, he's going to be there in 30th with Matt Sainer in 31st. Alvin Nago in 32nd with Pat Roll in 33rd. And indeed Charles Bahui in 34th. Carlos Spans takes 35th with Rinchinka Fernando in 36th. And with Antonio Avendas Diaz rounding out your grid.
Yeah, Sly Stafford, Tom Radford, Benson Ty, Nelson Danielle, Shelby Martin, David Albrecht, and John Holloway, rounding out 44 drivers getting ready for the start of the race here. The Porsches are pulling away, and we will find our way through to the formation lap. 30 minutes around here, and a lap taking about 1 minute and 7 seconds at the top of the Porsche class means that our race should go for about 28 laps or so. We shall see if we end up reaching that distance. But as the field pulls away, we'll have our slow motion tour of Summit Point. Got to keep turn 1 in mind here, and also the fact that the two classes are going to be starting separately. The GR86s holding back about 5 seconds from the Porsches, and the apex of the final turn will be the rough acceleration point. The start-finish line is after the pit exit, so we'll see if there's going to be any drivers who accidentally make a jump as well. Once again, it's a very short lap, but with 44 cars around here, Zippy, it's going to be cramped. Yeah,
it's definitely going to be a lot of cars for this circuit. Indeed, you know, the person who would actually want to ask it would be a guy called Jim Brewster, actually. I'd like to say I call him a friend. He's a damn good gentleman. He actually lives quite near to this circuit as well. But certainly, I would love to know just how many cars that you usually get around a race at Summit Point, indeed, and how many classes as well. Definitely 44 around here. Not only that, with 44 with 2 classes with such a speed difference, I have a feeling it's going to be a little bit aggressive here, Reese.
Yeah, it certainly is. Keeping in mind the lap time difference as well, the Porsches are on average about 11 seconds faster than the GR86s over the course of a lap. So by the time they get to lap 6 or so, they're going to be catching up to the back of the GR86 field. It's certainly going to be tough there.
Yeah, definitely, and I think that one of the biggest things about this race, indeed, is going to be trying to pass that multi-class traffic. But we're going to take a very quick break for just a second here, just to try and sort out technical difficulty before this race goes live. Well, ladies and gentlemen, they are just about getting ready to go underway. Just bear with us a second here, as they are indeed getting ready to go green. And away we go, ladies and gentlemen. It's going to be DJ Alessandrini there. You can see him starting to pull away, ladies and gentlemen. Absolutely fantastic stuff as the Porsche GR grid gets underway and makes their way down towards turn 1.
Very nicely done. In the Porsche field, a very clean start for everyone involved. The GR86 is making their way down to turn 1 for the moment. Brian Carwin managing to keep the lead, but not for long from Michael Montello. He's going to power around the outside of turn 1. There's going to be a very tight battle for the lead in both classes as we find our way through to the opening corners. Crash in the Porsches. Cooper Van Horn is off the road, and so is Richard Sawicki coming together through the right-hander.
Yeah, that's definitely a little bit unfortunate, and that has definitely got a little bit of damage. Ladies and gentlemen, the 41 car, it's fair to say it's got a little bit more than an overbite. It's lost its front teeth, ladies and gentlemen. Indeed, that is not the way he wanted to start the race, and has picked up a meatball flag for his troubles. Let's check in a little bit further forward, though, in the Porsche grid. You can see DJ Alessandrini pulled away about 7/10 of a second so far. Jack Pretty in hot pursuit. Further back, though, Jay King trying to apply a little bit of pressure here to Klaus Wood, but however, Max King finding himself up 5 positions with the Porsches with the number 38.
Yeah, oh well, Richard Sawicki's going to bring his Porsche into the pits as the battle continues here at the front of the Porsche field. At the moment, DJ Alessandrini away to a lead of about 7/10 of a second, but the battling really is a bit further back there with the likes of these cars fighting their way across the top of the circuit. Kevin Zhu rounding out the top 10 here. He's trying to chase down Thomas Lathrop, who goes wide, coming through the left-hander. There'll be a freebie there for Kevin. Now he can give chase to Max King.
Yeah, certainly, despite Thomas Lathrop having a little bit of a detour there, he did manage to keep his foot in it and indeed stay on the track. You see battles happening throughout there. Mike Leader absolutely applying the pressure, ladies and gentlemen. Let's check in here with the GR86 field as well. Looks like Michael Montello has been able to pull away a little bit of a gap. Franz Hansen currently up 3 positions, but Timothy Homan currently up 4. He's the hard charger in the GR field, and you can see right behind him Louis Alessi looking to try and apply a bit of pressure as well, as it looks like Mark McLuey is trying to find his way past Matt Sayer.
Yes, indeed. Lots of close racing going on back here. Matt Sayer up 3 spots. Louis Alessi down 3, and he's looking to try and make his way back up there. We're not far away from the Porsches almost getting to the back of the GR86 field. Lap times at the back of the GR86s seem to be quite a bit slower, but look at the long train of cars here. I mean, there'd be enough GR86s here for a full, proper race anyway. There's 27 of them out there.
Oh
it's
my.
actually ridiculous how many there are.
Yeah, that's one way of putting it, is look how incredibly close the racing is. Ladies and gentlemen, pick a car, as we also have Richard Sawicki trying to find his way through this field. Don't get me wrong, it's going to be a lot of fun for him, but also a big challenge. He has indeed gone and cleared that maple flag. You see the GR ahead of him with Benson Ty dipping a wheel there, as I see smoke ahead. Ladies and gentlemen, I have a feeling somebody's flirting with them track limits, or indeed taking a stop here at the beach, as indeed it's going to be a GR86 alongside the Porsche as Sawicki tries to find his way back through.
We're getting a good taste of what the traffic management is going to be like for the rest of the Porsches when they come up to the GR86s. Cornering speed is about the same as Benson Tai, as really alongside at the moment manages to keep the position just for the moment. But this is going to be a tough battle towards the end of the lap. Lots of extra speed that the Porsches have on the straights, but if the GR86s are going to be battling side by side like this, man, the Porsches are going to have a really rough time of it.
Well, you see 2 cars going side by side just a little bit further back, ladies and gentlemen. I have a feeling that may have been Tom Radford indeed, as these guys are going and having incredibly close battles, ladies and gentlemen. But in the whole process of that, Benson Tai has dropped back about 1.7 seconds from the rest of the pack. Moving further forward, though, it looks like Jonathan Crane now applying a bit of pressure to the back of Andrew Lensman in the GRs. However, in the Porsche, so Klaus Wood very much getting into a battle here with Jake King. These guys have sparred before, and I have a feeling they're going to be sparring again.
Oh, have a look at that. Which side do you pick there? Jake King trying up the inside of turn 1, but oh, that's going to be tough there. Klaus Wood opens the steering, straightens the car up, and manages to keep the position, running that flying lizard racing paint scheme. It's so close going into turn 3. Just a slight bit of contact there. They both managed to keep rolling, but turn 3, always difficult to get through when you're that close behind another car.
Well, definitely talking up close, Mike Leader is under about a tenth of a second here, ladies and gentlemen. He has been pretty much riding Thomas Lathrop for the majority of this race, ladies and gentlemen. Indeed, these guys are getting into an incredible battle. Kevin Zhu just a little bit further ahead. I'd say that about 2.8 seconds. Obviously, he's managed to sneak away, challenging Max King as well. The GR field, ladies and gentlemen, Ken Housel and indeed Colin Denner, Franz Hansen, all 3 of these drivers together. I said it'd be a battle to keep an eye on, and that's pretty much the case, ladies and gentlemen, as Ken Housel rocking that, I'd say rather 80s inspired Toyota livery, appears to be the meat in the middle of the sandwich, with Brian Carwin applying pressure at the back of the field. Meanwhile, Richard Sawicki trying to find his way through the pack of GRs.
Yeah, this is going to be tough here. Coming up on the GR leaders, rather difficult for sure. But you see that Sawicki is having to lift off down the straights here. The cars are so numerous that he doesn't actually have time to get by all of them before the next corner. That's how tight Summit Point is. And, you know, when the rest of the Porsches come up to the GR86s, we're going to be seeing the lead, I think, really come under fire. DJ Alessandrini is going to have to be inch perfect in that lead if he wants to keep it.
Yeah, currently he's been able to pull away about 2.2 seconds, ladies and gentlemen. That sounded like somebody just had a contact here. And indeed, that is a contact. Look at the Porsche there of Jack Rizzi, pretty much trying to fall over a GR86 there and making their way through. Is it already that case, ladies and gentlemen? Is it already passing? But I gotta say, I have just noticed something. David Albrecht, according to my graphic, ladies and gentlemen, he's on wet tires.
Oh dear, that's not ideal for David Albrecht. Yeah, I can see it on my timing as well. He's on wet tires. I'm amazed that he's actually managing to hold on to some pace there, but regardless, we'll see how he handles that as the leaders come through. Oh my goodness, there's been a big incident for Lewis Alessi. Huge incident for Alessi. He started further down on the GR86s, but are coming together in turn one with, it appears, Anthony Montello has sent him up into the fence.
Oh dear. I gotta say though, points for effort. That is some interesting parking there from Louis Alessi.
Yeah, unfortunately, he's had to tow back to pit lane from that, so unfortunate.
Well, as you see here, the Porsches are very much getting into a bit of it, and I have a feeling there's going to be a few people that are maybe have the feathers ruffled a little bit here. As you can see, that is Jake King trying to get away there. You see Adam Kovac right behind. Couldn't see Adam Kovac, but oh my word, did you see what I just saw?
Yeah, I think that's Montello. I think Montello had an incident of his own. He's just towed back to the pit lane. He might have been the car we were looking at there. No, oh yes, okay, on the replay here for Anthony. Oh, that's heavy contact.
Yeah, looking at the paint, I believe that might have been Wally Heidzicek there, and yeah, definitely going to be a few casualties in this race, Reese.
Fair few already. We have how many cars that have come through the pits so far for damage? Alex Nikrant, Anthony Montello, and Lewis Alessi, 3 of our GR86s, and of course Richard Sawicki having to tour through as well. So Cooper Van Horn, who was involved in that incident with Sawicki early on, meanwhile, has managed to remain in 14th place, and I think he's going to be making up some time on Cameron Guth very shortly. But we're looking at Kevin Zhu at the moment. It's getting super close here. Yeah, very aggressive indeed. Kevin is up 3 spots so far. He's not the biggest gainer in the Porsche field, though. That honor belongs to Max King, who is up 7 places to P6. An excellent drive from him so far, but this is looking really interesting. This pack of Porsches struggling to find their way through the GR86 packs.
Yeah, they definitely are, ladies and gentlemen. It's not exactly what they had in mind, but certainly some interesting battles going on. As I could have sworn, I just saw 3 wide for a second there. As we're going side by side, it's Adam Kovac and Klaus Wood. And not only that, you can see Kevin Zhu looking to get in, and he's done it. Ladies and gentlemen, up on the inside, the Canadian driver applying all of the pressure here to Kovac, who's now going to be on the inside this time for the left-hander. GR86 is in the mix as well, and I believe that is Michael Montello, who's now facing lap traffic. Indeed, he is, with Ken Hauser right behind him. Brands Hansen, Colin Downer separate a little bit now. These 3 cars were indeed nose to tail, ladies and gentlemen. The GR field starting to spread out slightly, but Montello under pressure here from league admin Ken Hausen.
Yeah, indeed. I love that scheme that Ken's running. Really brings back the memories of the 80s and Toyota's exploits racing in the USA. But the lead battle at the moment, nothing between these guys practically. Ken and Michael are both running times within a tenth of each other, even less. So it's going to be interesting to see how that works out. They've broken away from the rest of the GR86s. Franz Hansen and Colin Denner about a second back or so, and they might be able to get a bit of slipstream down the start-finish straight here. But from the perspective of Denner, let's see what he can do, as he seems to have lost some time to Hansen out of the final corner. Housel, interestingly, he's getting the slipstream on Montello at every opportunity, but he's not going for the move. I think he's waiting for that opportunity. Keeping it safe is the main name of the game today.
Yeah, I have a feeling there's going to be some strategy in play. Indeed, we've seen it time and time again, ladies and gentlemen. It's good to be ahead, but you got to time it right. As I believe there may be a little bit of an Easter egg there on the back of Andrew Lunsford's car, that number 5. Not quite got close enough. Brian Carwin, if you're listening, just push it a little bit harder for us. We'd like to see a view of that. Indeed, doing the honest way, ladies and gentlemen, rather than just use the chase cam. But right now, you can see that's going to have a little bit of a spanner in the works as the Porsches are making their way through the field.
Oh, yeah, a couple of Porsches there. Cameron Guth, and missing the front bumper is Cooper Van Horn, still carrying damage from his earlier contact with Sawicki. Ryan Carwin continuing to fight here as they make their way back down to the final corners. Charles Bowley now seeing a battle form here. Mark McLuey is pressuring him. McLuey trying to make some recovery here, down 3 positions from where he started.
Yeah, definitely running a more OEM paint scheme as well, and looks like these guys are definitely having a little bit of fun as well. Don't get me wrong, they are battling for P12 in class, or indeed P28 overall, ladies and gentlemen, but fair play to them, they're having a bit of fun. It looks like Mark McLuey there rocking that Continental paint job as well. Certainly some interesting tires, but it looks like Cooper Van Horn, ladies and gentlemen, he's getting into some battles here with Cameron Guth still.
Yeah, still trying to find his way back into 13th spot. But for the moment, it looks like he's managed to find his way past the GR86s, and Cameron Guth has not had as much luck. So he's lost a ton of time to Cooper Van Horn there. Interestingly, Van Horn running about 1:10s or so at the moment. His fastest lap, a 1:09.7. So it's going to be difficult for him to actually make up any more positions from here unless there's mistakes and crashes for drivers ahead. And he'll have to manage the traffic properly to make up those gaps as well. He is way down off the pace at the moment.
Yeah, definitely going to have to find a little bit more performance. But right now, Wally Hajicek, I think this is actually the highest position we've ever seen him, ladies and gentlemen. Don't get me wrong, he is no slouch, but he's managed to make his way to the outright podium, ladies and gentlemen, and indeed podium in class. You can see there, getting some pressure from what I believe is a new driver here to Pit Road Productions, Austin Olds, with Jake King very much in pursuit. These 3 drivers have pretty much been going for it the entire time. And another thing I've just noticed here, Reese, we have a Jake King and a Max King. I do wonder if we do indeed have another pair of brothers.
Yeah, indeed. Well, looks like Jake King has the flag of Jersey and Max King has the flag of the United States. So I don't know if they're related, but that was tough there for Wally. He almost got rear-ended by Austin Olds into the final turn, just in time for them to run up on some more GR86s. Max King, meanwhile, is having a rollicking time at the moment, trying to keep Klaus Wood and Adam Kobach behind him. Every single part of the track you come to now, you see GR86s in this contact. Sly Stafford gets turned around by Max King. That's a GR86 who probably wasn't expecting the Porsche to go for the move at turn 1.
Yeah, definitely. If you are in the faster class, it is up to you to make the maneuver safely, and indeed, definitely caught him by surprise there. I'm not sure how I would rule it, ladies and gentlemen, but that is the beauty of being a broadcaster, not race control. It's not up to us to decide, but you at home, let us know what you thought.
Absolutely. I think we're really seeing the dark side of the multi-class racing aspect of this series now, as this fight for 3rd place continues to ebb and flow and close up. A little bit of backing off through the slower section of the circuit from Wally Hajicek, and he runs all the way out to the outside of the final corner, defensive now, versus Jake King, who's going to try and go for it at turn 1. They've got some GR86s ahead of them. Look at how much they close up in the braking zone. Benson Ty and Antonio Diaz make contact ahead, and now it's side by side between Hajicek and Olds. Bit of oversteer there for Olds, as there was contact and contact again. Hajicek has been sent off and slides through turn 3.
Just for a second there, I thought he was going to hold it, but I've got to say, what an absolute beauty of a tank slapper he had going. I was rooting for it. You know what? Can we see that again? That was epic.
Yeah, unfortunately for Antonio Diaz, his troubles continuing there as Wally slid in front of him. A lucky escape from the fellow Porsche of Max King there. Goodness me, that was far from ideal there for Wally.
Yeah, definitely unfortunate there. He was there rocking the podium, his best position we've ever seen him in, ladies and gentlemen. And indeed, a little bit unlucky there, getting a little bit of contact. But indeed, Jake King and Austin Olds, that's just one down, one out the way, as they are absolutely duking it out for P3 overall. Meanwhile, DJ Alessandrini just pretty much casually going for a drive through traffic, ladies and gentlemen. But I can tell you, Ken Howell has taken the lead here of the GR86. Let me show you if I can find when the pass happened.
Yeah, they're going to be having some trouble here with a pack of Porsches coming up on them. That will increase the gap somewhat, but a nicely timed move by Ken Housel. That appears to be at the exit of turn 1 there that he got the move done, and, a good opportunity, actually. We've got about 13 minutes remaining in the race. It has absolutely flown by once again. No shortage of action out here.
Definitely not, Reese. Definitely not. It's been an absolute belter, ladies and gentlemen. Indeed, we are very lucky to have this show, and indeed very happy to have not just that, have the community here with us as well, ladies and gentlemen. Fair play to Housel. He is absolutely on it. And what's really good here in the GR battle is you can see himself, Montello, Colin Denner, and Franson have started to get back in the group together. You see that, I've got to say, Franz Hansen, yep, that is definitely a bum draft.
Making up a little bit of time then, as the front 4 with the GR86s will close their way up. Another Porsche coming up on them there. It's Jack Chrissy, who's running in 2nd place at the moment. Amazing that Chrissy and Alessandrini have managed to keep their cars clean in spite of everything that's happened. It's been absolute chaos, bedlam out there, and this might be another change for the lead here. Ken Housel didn't quite get the run out of turn 3 that he wanted, and Michael Montello is going to try and force the issue into the left-hand hairpin. Almost contact between our GR86 leaders, and there's contact again on the entry to the right. That's going to bring Colin Denner and Franz Hansen right into this.
Oh my gosh, this is absolutely epic. You know what? This is so good, I'd almost want to do it for free. Almost, ladies and gentlemen. It's that good. I've got to say, definitely one of the more fun broadcasts we got here today. And certainly, multi-class, you're right, Reese. You could literally have a series with just these GR86s, or indeed, I think you could have one with just the Porsche Cups as well. Ken, we're going to have to get a second series going. That's going to have to be the plan. Race 2 nights a week. If it's going to be this good, and look, here he goes, even better here, as that's going to be Jay King and Austin Olds yet again making the way past. And look at that, Montello now trying to make a dive to the inside to fight Housel, and more GR. Oh my gosh, more 996 Cups cars coming through. This is an absolute gong show of beauty, ladies and gentlemen. Look at that.
Oh, Klaus Wood is boxed in by our GR86 leaders. He can't do anything. He's completely lost touch with Max King now as a result of that. He'll be hoping that King runs into his own issue later on in the ebb and flow of traffic, because Thomas Lathrop and Kevin Zhu are coming. And Kevin, I saw him have a big tank slapper moment into the kink. He's managed to find his way past Housel. He's going to find his way past Michael Montello, shuffles him out of the way. And then there's contact again between our GR86 leaders. This is only going to end one way, and I think it's going to be in tears.
Oh, no, it's going to be tears of sheer happiness from this. Oh, my gosh, do it. Come on, Colin.
No!
Yes!
No!
What could possibly go wrong? Oh, my God. With the front row seat here. Are they going to make it? Oh, Colin, you backed out on us, buddy. Come on. Can we see 4 wide? This is some of the best racing we've seen on pit road production. Oh my gosh. I'm going to say the balls on this guy. Absolutely don't. Sorry guys, that's not my award. Don't mind me. I'll take to the grass as he makes his way by. Ken Housel holding on by a hope and a prayer. If he keeps going, ladies and gentlemen, he's going to start singing Madonna.
I need an adult. This is...
Yeah.
I'm scared. This is crazy. Absolutely insane racing. I mean, there's a few drivers who are undoubtedly unhappy with how things have gone for them today, but we are getting one hell of a show for it here. Colin Denner takes advantage out of turn 3, moves past Michael Montello for 2nd place, but he's trying his best to defend his Michael. He's going to run Colin Denner all the way to the outside. But Denner will hold strong. Oh, so close to making contact. God only knows what's going to happen in the next 9 minutes.
You know what? Can we ask for a second round of this straight after? I will take the bollocking off the girlfriend to do another show of this, because this is so good, ladies and gentlemen. Look at that, Colin Denner. It's almost like he's gone like with the motor with Cha-Cha Slide. You see, that's the best dance song, ladies and gentlemen, because it's the only one that comes with instructions. Colin Denner, a car that comes with instructions as well. Bump here on that rear end of the car.
Yes, well, I don't see anyone that's really taken advantage or followed that instruction, but we'll see if Michael Montello gets the hint. We'll see in the next 8.5 minutes. This really is the battle of the century there in GR86. Brian Taylor in the middle of a sandwich here between Timothy Homan and Matt Sayer, and Timothy runs a bit wide there. That's going to allow Brian Taylor back through the battle for 9th place in the GR86 class. GR86 really is where all the battles are at the moment. We have a couple of isolated 2-car fights in the Porsche class. Klaus Wood trying to keep Thomas Lathrop behind him here for 6th place. And Lathrop apparently is... maybe facing some pressure from behind as well. Kevin Zhu is trying to keep up there, but it's actually Richard Sawicki, the lapped car, that is behind Thomas Lathrop and Klaus Wood at the moment. More GR86s that they have to come up on here, and I gotta say, there's a few battles that they'll have to negotiate in the slow section. This could be a deciding factor in this fight.
Yeah, these two guys are honestly still going at it, and you know what, I don't know if we got like Three Stooges action, if we got Tom and Jerry, but certainly we've got some battles going on, ladies and gentlemen. That's one of the GR86s who honestly I would be feeling I'd be feeling like I was sat on the couch with several people stood behind me in this kind of scenario. That's the best way I'm going to describe it, ladies and gentlemen. Take that however you wish. But indeed, the battle of the century, ladies and gentlemen. You know what? We have in one show we have a move of the race. You know what? We need something bigger than that for this. This is the battle of the season, without a doubt here. And who would have thought it, ladies and gentlemen? We did say that these would be some people to keep an eye on. Ken Hauser currently holding off. He's got a Porsche to his right, ladies and gentlemen, albeit a bucktooth Porsche at that, ladies and gentlemen, missing the front bumper. But right behind him, you can see Colin Denner, Montello, and indeed Franz Hansen get into it. Andrew Lunsford starting to come into the fold as well.
Keeping an eye on, yeah, looks like these drivers aren't going to have much pressure from behind. Brian Carwin is another 5 seconds back as Montello runs wide on the exit of the penultimate corner. He's going to fall down the order. It looks like Jack Chrissy has fallen out of 2nd place in Porsche as well. Both Jake King and Austin Olds have found their way past him, and that was a big problem out of turn 3 for Jack Chrissy. Unfortunately, he did it all on his own.
Yeah, that looks like he had the same kind of deal as Wally did, but just about able to hold on. Don't get me wrong, Wally would have held that, I think, if he didn't just have that smidge of contact. It was an absolute tank slapper of a slide. Beautiful for a photograph, ladies and gentlemen, but indeed, Jack Chrissy definitely getting caught a little bit loose there. But you know what the good news is, ladies and gentlemen? Look right ahead of him. He's got the number 50 car of Austin Olds and Jake King just another half a second ahead of him as well. We're going to get a three-way grudge match here between these Porsches. We said it wasn't the Three Stooges, but ladies and gentlemen, it could be now. Tom and Jerry just got upgraded to the Three Stooges.
They did indeed. Which one is Larry? Which one is Curly? Which one is Mo? We'll have to wait and see. DJ Alessandrini has absolutely jetted away from the front of the Porsche field, by the way. He is 13 seconds ahead of that battle we were just looking at between King Olds and Chrissy. It's, I think, back to business as usual for DJ. He wasn't here at round 1, obviously, so some other drivers were able to take the spoils, but not so today. Keep an eye on Thomas Lathrop as well. He's got Klaus Wood ahead and Kevin Zhu behind. Another 3-way fight that has emerged.
I'm absolutely loving this race. It is, without a doubt, the most fun I've had on the broadcast for a while. Don't get me wrong, I got a couple of things that broke just before the show. But to me, it really doesn't matter at this point. The racing alone speaks for itself, ladies and gentlemen. This, like, we've had some shows that have been an absolute nightmare to commentate. There just wasn't enough action. This, however, we almost need to get free broadcasts going for the same race. It's that good.
Yeah, a separate broadcast for Porsche and for GR86. That's how much action has gone on here. And if there's anything that we've ended up missing in this show, we do apologize. We are doing our best to keep up with everything that's going on out there. It's just been ridiculous. You know, 2 classes in double digits plus a track as short and tight as Summit Point is a recipe for chaos.
Chaos or entertainment, ladies and gentlemen, take your pick. Honestly, I'm smashing different parts of the race right now. Worse than a cat on caffeine. Like, that's how intense this is, and I'm absolutely loving it. No complaints there. As you see, a little bit of a twerk and wiggle there from the number 65 of Michael Montello. But right now, Colin Denner looking to try and find his way past Lee Adam and Ken Halthor in the number 23 car. And I gotta say, it's been a belter, ladies and gentlemen. Meanwhile, in the chat, Resonate, thank you very much. He says we're doing great, Reese. Always a bit of love there. We got Amy in the chat saying, oh, come on. Woo free wide from Zaralift. Absolutely. And we got Stax Media saying, he said what? Laugh my ass off. Oh, no!
Oh,
yes!
Careful!
They survived.
Oh, Ken Housel getting a bump from Franz Hansen there, is steaming around the outside of them all is Jake King there, the second running Porsche. So Housel has been shuffled back to third place in GR86 now. He's got 4 laps remaining to try and sort it out. Austin Olds just pops in front of him there. I gotta say, if you're a GR86 driver, you're probably clenching as hard as you ever would with these Porsches coming up on you. My whole body is tense just watching these Porsches come up on these guys.
Yeah, I'm definitely having a full moment over here, Reese. And indeed, Andrew Lunsford's now coming to the fight. But you know what this means here, Reese? We now have a 5-way fight for the lead. Colin Denner, he's there with the push here on the back of that. You see one of the Porsches trying to make his way by. It could be Jake King, ladies and gentlemen. Don't hold me to it. Nope, further back, it's Max King, ladies and gentlemen. I had the King, just the wrong one. But indeed, the fight for the front of the GR86 now. 5 cars involved, 5 capable drivers, and indeed, well, ladies and gentlemen, 2 minutes left to go. If ever there was a race I wanted to run longer, this is it.
Yeah, for sure. You know, it's times like this, I think, 30 minutes is just too short. But we'll keep our eyes peeled for any further developments in these final couple of minutes. Franz Hansen has dropped off the back of the fight for the lead, unfortunately. He's gotten some damage and he's slow, so we'll have to see if he can hold off Brian Carwin here, but it doesn't look like he'll be able to. We'll get a look at what happened to Franz here, Zippy.
Yeah, you can see here a couple of Porsches on the inside, one more going, and I just don't think he was expecting him. And definitely a little bit unfortunate there. Gets a bit of a nudge. I'm not quite sure who that was. It might have been Wally, but don't hold me to it.
Yeah, that's not ideal for Franz, but he will at least keep rolling and continue on. Wow. This fight's just continuing to go off, and you know what? Now it is a 4-way battle for second in Porsche as well. Jake King leads that fight. Jack Chrissy and Austin Olds right behind. Max King is just getting within a second of them on occasion, so there's going to be plenty of opportunities here for moves in the final lap and a half. DJ Alessandrini will be taking the white flag next time by.
Well, this one, I reckon he's got 19 seconds. He needs to pull that car over and make sure we get as many laps as possible. Indeed, he could park it for a bit longer, but I think he will indeed trigger that white flag, ladies and gentlemen. Fair play to him. He's a potent force to be reckoned with, but indeed, pretty much just running laps at this point, doing a little bit of time attack. And by all means, check out his podcast, ladies and gentlemen, Lizard Brains podcast. Him and I believe it's Tom Gorman, actually, who go on there and have a chat. And we have Tom Gorman in the field. I'm sure we do.
Yeah, I think we have in the past. A quick scroll through the field, I don't see him, unfortunately, but that will be a matter for another time. The white flag is indeed hanging in the air for DJ Alessandrini, and about half a lap to go for him, but we're keeping our eyes on the fight here for the lead in GR86. Colin Denner versus Ken Housel versus Michael Montello and Andrew Lunsford. They are going to take the white flag here. Denner, defensive, coming into turn 1. Looks like there's a Porsche behind them, but they won't be caught by that Porsche until the exit of the first corner, at least. Just edging into the lead is Ken Housel, trying his best to make the move around the outside of Colin Denner. Straightens it up. Very nice run out. He's going to have the inside for turn 3. Just in time for Raul Iriarte to arrive on the scene. Oh, that was close. Up ahead, DJ Alessandrini has just taken the checkered, so he'll win dominantly in the Porsche class. Congratulations to DJ, but we still got to keep an eye on this fight for the lead in GR86. There's no telling who's going to finish on top.
Yeah, this could definitely, yep, you know what, I'm sorry, there's a battle going on in Cup Cars. It's going to have to wait. This is going to trump all. This is going to trump pretty much everything for the next hour, ladies and gentlemen, despite the fact that the race ends in just under about 4 or 5 corners, ladies and gentlemen. It's, oh dear, a little bit of a blink there from Ken Housel, but is he going to be able to hold on? The question you got to ask yourself now, does the GR have enough pace in the slipstream to be able to make himself to the front before that checkered flag, ladies and gentlemen? Indeed, it's quite a long ways down. Colin Denner may have played this right, but what will Michael Montello do? What will Andrew Lunford be able to do? Is it going to be a drag race to the end, or indeed are we going to see a slipstream battle? As Ken Housel, he's fought all night for this win, ladies and gentlemen. Colin Denner, 1900ths of a second, starts to ebb in ever closer, ladies and gentlemen. Not quite able to get it done, but what an absolutely orgasmic race, ladies and gentlemen.
Yes. Well, that was far and away the most frantic race I've seen in a while, with plenty of drivers probably feeling a bit shortchanged out of that one, but plenty seeing some great success, some huge moves up through the field from the likes of Mike Leader, who gained 5 spots, for Benson Tai, who made it up 11 spots. It's just incredible, the amount of gains and losses that we're seeing all the way through this field. But it looks like that's going to be our results ready to go in Porsche. DJ Alessandrini takes victory by 20 seconds over Jake King. Jack Chrissy only a couple of tenths behind him there for second place. Austin Olds finishes in 4th. Max King started 13th and made it all the way up to 5th. A great drive from him. Klaus Wood and Thomas Lathrop rounding out your top 7, with Kevin Zhu, Mike Leader, and Raul Iriarte your top 10. Adam Kobach, the last driver to finish on the lead lap. Cooper Van Horn involved in an incident with Richard Sawicki very early on. Both he and Sawicki finish a lap down with Cameron Guth in between them. And Wally Heidercheck, unfortunately 2 laps down, was running in the podium positions. Matthew Kilmurray retiring from the race in the Porsches.
I gotta say, that was incredible. I feel honored to read these results. Ladies and gentlemen, Ken Housel takes the win. Honestly, that could have gone to anybody within the top 6, I'd say. Certainly, Ryan Miller, we didn't see quite involved as much, but there was a 4-way fight for the lead for the majority of that race, and absolutely mind-blowing racing. But Ken Housel able to come out on top over Colin Denner. Michael Montello will have to settle for 3rd with Andrew Lunsford in 4th. Ryan Miller, as we said there, in 5th with Franz Hansen. A little bit unfortunate in the end. He got pushed back down into 6th after contact with one of the 996 Cup cars. Brian Carwin took 7th with Brian Taylor in 8th, with Matt Sayer taking 9th with Timothy Homan in 10th. Jonathan Crane took 11th with Mark. Oh my god, I need to put my glasses on, ladies and gentlemen. My girlfriend would love it. Mark McClure is there in 12th place with Charles Bowley in 13th. Benson Tai took 14th with Tom Radford in 15th. Renshika Fernando takes 16th, and a little bit further. Look further down, Charles Miller there in 17th. Nelson Daniel in 18th with Sly Stafford in 19th. Daniel Albrecht in 20th. And indeed, a little bit further down, like, it just keeps going. How did we fit this many cars on the grid, Reese? Oh,
I have no idea.
What magic occurred?
Crazy.
No wonder it was busy. My apologies, ladies and gentlemen, just blown away here. Shelby Martin takes 21st with Louis Alessi in 22nd. Definitely a little bit unfortunate, but by all means, the best parking job we saw here today. Alex Nickrand takes 23rd with Pax Rolf in 24th. We then had Antonio Diaz in 25th and Albert Negro rounding out 27th. Oh, sorry, my apologies. John Holloway there in 28th as well. Well, you know what I think we should do? Let's mix this up a little bit differently here. Sorry, DJ, you're going to have to wait. Reese, I want to take 2 drivers here at once. I do believe with a grudge match like that, I want to see how this goes between them, because that was nothing short of diabolical racing.
Yeah, Ken Housel and Michael Montello, our winner and 3rd place in the GR86 class, joining us. We'll go to Ken first. Honestly, Ken, it looked like just a few minutes from the end, you were in trouble of not taking that victory, but you managed to fling your way forward again. How was it out there? Are you sweating?
Yeah, we were just talking about how sweaty we are after that. That was quite the race. The Porsche traffic was much scarier than expected, and then obviously all 5, 6 of us, whatever it was, in the GRs were all elbows out the entire time. So it was just a ton of work. It was so fun though.
Yeah, it looked like a great battle. Colin Denner just jumping in to join us as well, finishing second place. Colin, how was it for you? Obviously, the slipstream very strong in the GR86, but complicated quite a bit by how narrow this track is and having a whole other faster class on track to contend with.
Yeah, it was definitely a giant chess match, honestly. The biggest thing, like you said, was just staying in the draft, making sure that Ken and Michael really couldn't get away, so Franz and I were kind of working together. But yeah, when the time, it really was just all about timing the run to make the passes. Couldn't force anything, couldn't make anything happen too early or anything, because Porsches were always going to be passing and always causing something to happen. And even when Ken and Michael were pulling away, I knew at some point Ken was going to make a move on Michael, so I knew it was just important to stay close to Franz and not get excited and kind of just wait for the moment to attack. And I was able to lead a couple laps, but just not the right one. Not the right one at the end, but it was a really good race. Really good, hard, classic GR86 race.
And finally, Michael, how was it for you? Obviously getting very close quarters, particularly in turn 1, but it seems like despite a few small incidences of contact, you guys were able to keep that clean in the midst of having to dodge the German missiles.
Yeah, that was more stressful than I thought. It didn't help that we were all within like a second or two of each other, so if you had your eye on your relative, you had no idea a Porsche was coming until it was already on you. So, you know, going door to door with GR86s and then also going door to door with Porsches made it very stressful. I was 4x away from getting a drive-through, so near the end I kind of had to tone it back a little bit, but I'm glad that I was able to at least stay in the top 3.
Yeah, fantastic stuff. Drive from all of you. I mean, honestly, a fantastic battle to the 3 of you there, and huge congratulations for actually making it to the end. Just crazy stuff. Congratulations to all of you. Zippy, I understand, has a couple of questions.
Well, I gotta say, the 3 of you, and indeed we got to shout out Franz Hansen as well, and indeed Andrew Lunsford, so that would make the 5 of you. Without a doubt, if you can keep delivering that kind of racing entertainment for the rest of the season, I'm going to need to be on a pacemaker, medication, and indeed some kind of restraint device, because that was nothing short of fantastic. I feel like Simon Cowell right now, but a little bit less of an ass, I'll say it. I gotta say, guys, that was phenomenal. I'm grateful for such fantastic action, but I'm also kind of nervous because, like, how are you going to match that next week? Like, obviously, Summit Point is one of your... It's a local track to you fellas. Certainly, Colin, I do know you get a little bit of real-world action. Tell us a little bit. Have you got real-life experience here at this circuit?
In a go-kart, I don't have any car experience, actually, at all.
Well,
so it's quite a bit different than a car.
Somebody throw this man a set of keys and just see what happens, because I'd certainly like to see it. Ken, I know that you definitely have real lapping experience. Have you driven this circuit in real life?
Yeah, it's been a few years. Unfortunately, we tried to do an event there last month, and it was the new bridge that they're putting up wasn't there yet, so we couldn't drive the main circuit. But we drove all the other tracks at Summit Point when we were there. That race was crazy, and it's fun racing with these guys that we've raced with for a long time. So we know what we can kind of get away with and what we can't. Like, I know Michael was talking about the turn 1 incident where he was on my inside, and it's like, well, I knew he was there. I wasn't sure if me moving over would scare him or not. So it was like a risk I was willing to take.
Well, certainly that is the beauty of racing with some familiar faces, ladies and gentlemen. Certainly I'm thinking of a guy called Mike Petco out in Chicago. We did a spec race, the Ford race, and literally we got a lot of incident points, but it was all completely legit. Like, you know, no excessive door banging and stuff like that, but that is one of the best things on it. Honestly, I think we may have to set up a special event for this, because I would love to see what happens if you guys have no incident limit And yes, you can door bang, because I have a feeling that would be absolutely phenomenal. But certainly, Michael, my understanding as well, you both yourself and your brother, you guys, I think if I remember rightly, do some driving in real life as well. Please tell me if I'm mistaken.
No, you're correct. We're from Illinois, so never been anywhere near this track in real life. Would love to visit at some point, but yeah, we do autocross primarily, and I've been on track just a handful of times. Looking to do more in the future, but not an expert by any means.
Well, certainly, I have a feeling that you're going to have to make a trip over to Summit Point and definitely give Ken a run for his money. I would certainly love to see what would happen. You guys equally matched in the same car and see who could set the fastest lap. I have a feeling that would be some very, very close competition. But I got to say, gentlemen, and indeed, let's give a shout out as well, especially to Franz Hansen and indeed Andrew Lunsford, because that was some of the best racing we've seen here on pit road. Don't get me wrong, we see a lot of really good racing. We're very lucky in that aspect. But for me, that was a show of the century. This is the part where you guys would bow.
Thank you very much.
Put your hands over or something, set the champagne off, there you go, attaboy. All right, gentlemen, but I suppose, Reese, we probably should, really, I mean, we chat to this guy on a regular basis, and certainly you guys have definitely seen this, gentlemen. Reese, I understand you've been able to catch up with the 996 Cup driver of DJ Alessandro Gini, who took the outright win.
Hello.
Yeah, it'd be nice to speak to one Porsche driver out of this. Plenty of action, DJ. Managing the traffic was the main problem for the Porsches, I guess. A lot of the straights around here just weren't long enough, particularly in the middle of the circuit, to really get a run on GR86 packs.
Yeah, I mean, I just played it safe in all like the twisty bits in between 5 and like all the way to 8, I guess. I would pass people if I'm like, all right, they're in full control of their car. But then people that didn't seem like they were full in control of their car, or they were in like a heated battle, I just sat behind them. It didn't really seem like, maybe if Jack or Jake or any of the other Porsche Cup drivers, maybe if they're right on my heels, maybe I would have felt a little bit forced to make some moves, but I don't know. I just took my time, and it seemed like the gap kept growing. So I'm curious what was happening behind me, just because I felt like I was giving up a lot of time, but the gap just kept growing in relative. So.
Yeah, well, playing it safe got you the win in the end. You are back in the seat. You weren't here for round 1, but let's see if the rest of the season continues to bring you success here. You're evidently a fan of the Porsche Cup car, and it's treated you nicely in return. Yeah.
I'm bummed I missed last week. Road Atlanta's my probably my strongest track and my favorite track. But nobody should cry for me. I was enjoying race cars in California, so.
Well, excellent stuff. Getting back to the sim and immediately seeing success. DJ, thanks very much for joining us, and we'll see you next week.
Yep, thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
All right, Zippy, that is going to bring proceedings to an end for tonight's race. My goodness, what a show. I think I need a bit of a rest for the brain, but I've got another broadcast that I'm going to have to jump over to, so wish me luck, mate.
I do wish you luck, and honestly, I don't care who it is. I think you're going to have a very hard time matching the quality of racing we've had here tonight. It was... Yeah. I can't say enough words. Ladies and gentlemen, we do a lot of shows here on Pit Road Production, and we're very fortunate to have that, but I feel so spoiled, honestly, and you know what? This wasn't work. This was an honor. It was a treat, and I am really beyond excited for what's coming next week. I can't remember the track, ladies and gentlemen. Give me a second. I'll find it, but just wow. Just well, let me have a look at Hungaroring. I don't even know the circuit, but if these guys are running this combo again, which they are, we are in for a treat. What are they going to do with that special event? If it's as good as this, we're set for a winner. Ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together for the whole WDCR SCCA Virtual Racing League, because that was nothing short of fantastic. But Reese, I am 100% trip lining over my own words. You should probably do the honors. Try and get some redemption here, because indeed that was a spicy one, and I've got no regrets. Not at this point, ladies and gentlemen, but I hope you enjoyed it just as much as we did.
Yeah, I certainly hope the same. A huge thanks once again to all the partners, supporters, and sponsors of WDCR, SCCA, and the Virtual Racing League. Ken and the whole crew behind the scenes putting this series together. All of you in the broadcast chat for keeping us company during this absolutely wild event. We'll be back this time next week at the Hungaroring for more incredible action in the Porsche Cup and GR86 classes. I'm Reese Gardner, Daniel Zippy Salmon alongside me in the commentary box, and also producing behind the scenes here on Pit Road Productions. Reminder, go over to the WDCR SCCA channel. There is a playlist of our broadcasts on that channel now, so make sure to check that out. Big thanks to everyone for watching, and we'll see you again next time.